Hello there. I've had an idea for a song. Well, actually someone else has had an idea for a song. So, I was talking to my good friend Fiona the other day, who was at an airport passing the time before a flight. And what she was doing is she was observing all the people around her and deciding where they'd been, where they were going. And that's given me an idea for a song, because there are thousands of lives going on around us that we don't really know anything about or pay any attention to. Lives full of just as much love and richness as our own. And the wonderful thing about being a songwriter is I can observe these people and I can just make up absolutely anything about what's happening to them. But I think it's very easy to just write about what's happening to me or what's happening to my friends and family, whereas I can be really creative with this. So I'm heading out into Doncaster now to observe, take in the sights, you know, and hopefully I'll get some lyrical inspiration. So I have come out to Lakeside in Doncaster because this seems to be a place where lots of people come. There are people walking the dogs, there are people sort of out on their lunch break. So I figured there's plenty of people to sort of take stories from, if you like. It's been really warm here in Doncaster and actually it's cooled down a bit, so it's pleasant. The sun is still out, which is nice, but it's not as bad as it was. So yeah, let's see what we can see. I just saw two people sat on a bench having quite a nice conversation with each other, and they got flasks out. They were literally just sat having a chat, and there's so much to work with there, you know, there's so much humanity in that, so much life, you know. What are they talking about? And they obviously thought to bring a flask. They knew they were going to be there for a long time. There's definitely a little story there, some kind of lyric. Now I've decided to climb to the top of the hill here on lots of plant life. This is not usual for a song in 7 days, is it? An intrepid journey. But at the top of the hill, there is a fantastic view where you can see most of Doncaster, and I figured that'd be a nice place to sort of sit and reflect as well. Maybe we can see some relevant landmarks. Okay, so I'm at the top of the hill now, and I'll be honest, there are some trees obscuring the view that used to be here. I'm a little bit disappointed. So for example, over there, there's a church that my grandparents got married in. It just looks like, you know, like a dot on the camera, so you'll just have to take my word for it, basically. Fun fact, my friend Adam used to sit on the spire in the middle. Don't really know why, just used to be a thing that he enjoyed doing. I'm also not really sure what this is. Now that view is more like it. That's what I was expecting, because on one side of it you can literally see Bawtry. You used to be able to see the Harworth Colliery before they knocked it down, the tower on one side, and there's like the Cantley Water Tower in the middle and the dome over there. You can see so much of Doncaster. It's amazing to think how many people there are out there just living their lives. I don't believe for a second that one could break your arm. They just look so graceful, don't they? Absolute swan migration. Hello, friends. See? There's no way that he'd try and break my arm. Look at him, he's so peaceful. Look at that! Wagging the tail. It knows. Talking about you. I've always wondered whether that's actually a water feature or whether it's just a burst pipe. It's really unclear because it just seems to come on and off periodically. Look at this. I found some children ducks. Look at him go, following the mum. Just out on a bit of a mish. Look at him go. You've got your whole life ahead of you, kids. Try to be the best ducks that you can. That's my advice. I've just seen two people in suits walking around, looking like they're working out some kind of strategy. And I forgot, obviously, there are a lot of businesses in the area. I like the idea of two people communicating with each other, walking around this lake trying to solve a problem with their business. It's not a part of the world I'm hugely familiar with, so I can be quite creative with it. Makes me think of like Jerry Maguire, you know, show me the money. That's what he's saying to him. He's saying, show me the money. You know, what's the big idea? Where's the beef? Sitting and watching people walk past from here reminds me of that Vine where it's just like, and they were roommates. I feel like I'm going to catch a conversation that could be quite good as a lyric. Who knows? But I'm definitely not going to film it because that feels really weird. Well, I know what you're thinking. What are we going to do next? And the answer, of course, is to go home and start making up some of these stories. Let's get creative. Maybe if I go down Airborne Road, I'll be able to get this song off the ground. Just on my way back now, and I've decided that what I'm going to do is I'm going to write all of the lyrics for this song before I write any of the music. Now, I've never actually properly done this before, so it should yield some interesting results. I kind of did it with on paper, but not to this extent. I had some idea of what the music would sound like, whereas this time I'm going to get every single word written before I even touch a musical instrument. It's a bit of an interesting constraint, but I've got to do something outside of my comfort zone this time. I've got to do something different, I feel. And let's be honest, if it's about people's lives, in inverted commas, it should be lots of little stories that I should be able to tell without the medium of music. So now that I'm back home, I'm going to use my imagination to create a backstory for all the people that I've seen today. You know, what they do, what they get up to in the spare time, where they're from, what they want to get out of life. And I'm going to create little stories. And hopefully those little stories will form the basis of the lyric. So I'm going to work with what I've seen today and go from there. Okay, so I've got a bit of a confession to make. I'm actually a bit lost. And I mean like literally lost. I've never been to this part of Doncaster before. But once again, I've exposed myself to new possible stories. I've seen a train station that I didn't know existed. And yeah, I mean, there's so many things I didn't know existed, but here we are. But yes, it's quite nice to have a bit of an explore of an area that I absolutely have no idea where it is. So you'll be pleased to know that I found my way back to civilization, and I've decided to do myself a bit of a stir fry. Pictured within. And once I've had that, I'm going to start working on the stories again. But I do have a funny feeling that I'm going to have to go out again tomorrow, possibly to somewhere like a train station, because I feel like that could be a good place to find the stories. But we'll see. I'll sit down and write tonight and see what happens. This morning I've come to Doncaster station. I've decided I need a bit more source material, and what's better than a train station? You see all kinds of things here, you know. People are either going somewhere or they're just arriving. It's like they say in Love Actually, you know, if you want to see love, go to an airport, and I can't really go to an airport, so I've come to a train station. So I'm just going to take in the sights and see if I can find some more stories to tell. You wouldn't believe it, I've just bumped into Hannah. She's getting on a train to work. I thought I'd never see people I knew here, but I actually have.
Train arrived on platform 6 is not for public use, please now to train on platform 6.
Do you mind?
Not for public use.
This was definitely a good choice. There's so many people coming and going here. There's so much life again. There are people who look like they're ready to go on adventures. There are also a lot of people taking pictures of trains, and I assume that's what people think I'm doing as well. In fact, I'm taking videos of trains. It's very different. But there's so much happiness here. He knows I'm talking. There's also a bit of anxiety. There are people who are clearly leaving and don't want to leave. There's lots of people embracing each other. It is basically just like the end scene from Love Actually. There are so many stories here that are just, you know, dying to be told. Decided that I'm going to use the train station as the main part of the story. The reason being, there are some great metaphors that I can actually use in the song itself. Departing, waiting, transition, all those sorts of things. So what I plan to do is take the stories from the last 2 days and try and create a couple of characters who maybe interact with each other, maybe they don't, but it's all going to take place in the same location. Not sure what I'm going to call it yet, but maybe that'll become obvious. The England game is on tonight, and I am watching it. I don't know where I'm watching it yet, but I am going to watch it. So that is a main part of this week's vlog, because it is coming home. I'm pretty sure it's coming home. But in all seriousness, it is my intention to mull it over this evening, because the train station idea may be a little bit limiting. I'm not sure. I think I'm going to commit to it at this stage, but I just need a little bit more time to think about the stories and these characters and these people. And hopefully the England game will be a good distraction for that. It's coming home. Oh dear. We're going to have to talk about this, aren't we? Obviously, the England game didn't go as well as we thought it would. We lost to Croatia and it wasn't fun to watch. Truth be told, I'm not a huge football fan, but for whatever reason, the World Cup got my attention this time around, which made it particularly disappointing. I watched the game round at Dan and Hannah's, which was lovely, because they've got a new cat, Dash. So as a means of detracting from what actually happened, here's some footage of Dash doing some nice things. Ah, look at him go. Huh. He's using a mobile phone, like a human. And here's a bad joke that I made just before we went into extra time. Dan, question. Have you cleared out your spare room?
No.
Because it's not coming home, is it? In an interesting turn of events, I've found myself at the seaside. I'm here in Scarborough with my mum and dad for the day. Well, just for the afternoon, actually. We decided to pop out and have some breakfast here. So, I mean, I couldn't actually be any closer to the sea if I wanted to. It's there. So my plan is to take in the sights, have a couple of my favourite things, including a Horlicks at the Harbour Bar. People who know Scarborough will know how great that truly is. It is the best Horlicks. Just don't want to fall asleep at 2 o'clock this afternoon. But I do love a Horlicks, so I'll be cracking on with that. Oh, listen at that. Isn't that amazing? Oh, it's like a relaxation tape, but in real life. So my plan is to mill around a bit and then find somewhere to write the lyrics. I am going to go with the train station idea, and I'm going to go with one central character. And it's about the things that the character is seeing as well. So there's kind of 2 layers to it. That's my idea at the moment. But yes, I've got to find somewhere in this beautiful seaside town to sit and write some lyrics. Maybe I could just sit on the beach. That's a nice idea. It's amazing how much a change of scenery will do you good. Just wandering along this beach is so different to my normal existence. Particularly seeing as the seagulls are trying to get me all the time, so I've got to be quite wary they don't steal anything from me. So behind me is the Futurist Theatre, where the Beatles played in the 60s, and it's been demolished at the moment, which is quite sad. But a little bit of trivia for you, it's the first place where they used their Vox AC50 amplifiers, the ones that were doubled in wattage, I believe, to be louder for the audiences. And yes, they were actually used for the first time there. And now it's gone. When you come to the seaside, you've got to have like the stereotypically seasidey things.
Donuts.
Like
Donuts, yeah, because they're not high quality donuts, are they? I like the bad ice cream. I don't want it to be like Cornish clotted cream.
But it's a little bit like when you eat sandwiches with a picnic. They're all the best sandwiches ever.
But I think
maybe.
there's a good, is it Giaconello's along here? Their ice cream is supposed to be very good.
Just give me Mr. Whippy every single time.
But the
Honestly.
Harbour Bar is supposed to be the best ice cream, isn't it?
Yeah, actually that is good because they do
Are
the
you
ones
still
with...
doing your Horlicks?
Yeah, I'm going to get a Horlicks now, yeah. Like, I mean, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, but why not, you know?
Are you sure you don't want me to drive home? 'Cause,
I'll be fine, I'll be fine. Happy with your big ice cream? What? Is it good?
Some of it went in my mouth.
Look at 2 hands. Why is it 2 hands? Horlicks. Dad's got his ice cream. It's been a successful trip. Apart from, oh look, you're using one hand to eat it now.
well, it's getting
We've
lighter.
developed.
Where's your
So
You
good.
don't know though, do you? Can't you?
What do you mean?
To check it out, your Horlicks. How do you know it's Horlicks?
I mean, oh, what are you doing? It's definitely Horlicks.
Ooh.
Good luck, right, good luck getting that lid back on. Right, put it down. Unbelievable. Right.
No.
No. Alright, it's gone on now. There we are. Apart from that, that was a very successful trip. So I'm back from the coast now, so I figured I'd just go over the lyrics I've written today. I've got La La Land on in the background, of course, for the 1000th time I've seen it. I genuinely think I am totally paying the royalties for this film. I've seen it so many times. So yeah, I'm going to keep that on in the background, and then hopefully I'll finish the lyrics tonight. Check them over tomorrow morning, and it's on to the music. I've just finished writing the lyrics and something really weird has happened. I've actually got to the end of this notepad, and it's made me feel a little bit emotional, actually, because there's so many lyrics in here, including all of the things I wrote on here of all places, all the songs that I've written so far. And it's really weird that I literally got to the last line and I tried to turn the page over and there just isn't any more paper in this book. What's even more strange is the first page in this book is the letter I wrote myself for the song Everywhere. That was released a year ago tomorrow, so it has taken me a year to fill this book. And there's all kinds of things in here, all the mistakes, all the drafts, all the reworking that I've done on all the songs. And I'm going to have to start a new notebook. But obviously what that means is I now don't have to worry about losing this notebook. I can put it in a safe place for me to look back on in a few years' time. But isn't that so strange? Genuinely, I only have to turn the page a couple of times. I've got songs like Pristine Lawns, Let's Be Like Tourists, This City, She Can Handle the Attention, Everywhere again. There's so much in here. But then, you know, I get to about halfway through and I've got I was sitting with Zoella in the Festive Radio Times. So this is like a story in itself. I genuinely can't believe it. That's really nice.
He's calling out to her, she's heading for the door. As long as you love, you're bound to lose, and you know that for sure.